Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're just bringing our speakers on, getting started here. Hopefully, everybody can hear me. Let's bring on. Okay, let's see. Netherrack, if you can request to. Okay, I think I can invite you here. Bringing everybody on. I'm going to invite Paul to co-host just as a backup. And once you come on as a speaker, please confirm that you are able to hear me.
I'm able to hear you.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yep.
Having some issues getting the space started. I tried to start it from my phone because that's usually the best, and then the whole app just shut down. So then I had to rush to my desktop, and luckily I was able to get it started from there after the screen refreshed. So that was a lot of fun. Always
No worries.
hectic with the spaces, but it looks like everybody is coming up on here just fine. It looks like Paul and Alexa might be a little bit laggy on there, but nope, I think Paul's coming through. Alexa should have been invited. If there's anybody out there that I'm missing that is from the team, please just request and I'll bring you up on. And for those of you out in the audience, we will be taking questions much later, but save your requests until the end, please. Okay, we got Uprising coming on. Let's see what we got here. So we can do some mic checks for those of us who are on here. Ooh, it looks like Paul just dropped back down to a listener. Oh, wait. Now he's co-host again. All right. So let's see if we can hear Paul. Are you connected? Let's see.
He's back to listener. He doesn't want to talk to you.
Oh, okay. His mic is acting weird, so I am going to invite him again. But at least I that was a mic check from you now, so we got you on.
Yeah. I can hear it clearly.
Perfect. How about Sam?
Yep. Can you hear me?
All right, I can hear you. Perfect. And let's see, Netherrack?
Yes, can you guys hear me well?
Yes, perfect.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you go, Paul.
Yep.
I have to go into my headset though. You don't get my radio DJ voice with my good microphone. For some reason, Spaces does not like my good microphone.
It's still coming through pretty decent, but Spaces is definitely being a little bit buggy today. So, Uprising, we got you? And I know I put Kearney up here too. I don't know. Let's see if that went through. And Sam, I think I heard you when you first came on, right?
Yeah. No, I'm all good.
All right, perfect. So we should be ready to go. I know we're waiting on a couple of people from Uprising to be able to connect. Kearney, you should have an invite from me, and whoever's behind the Uprising account, if that is Eric, if you want to give a mic check at any time.
Hey, can you hear me all right, John?
Yep.
Yeah,
I can hear
I'm
you.
just bringing up the brand account, just leaving it AFK, but great to be up here. Excited for this conversation.
Perfect. Awesome. Sounds great. So I think we can get started. Why don't we go around and everybody introduce themselves a little bit and talk about, your role in this collaboration here. So I guess we can start with Paul and go around.
Yep, I'll go first. Hey folks, my name is Paul. I'm the founder of Somnia. So we are building the blockchain that Netherrack is going to be on top of.
Very, very exciting. And I guess you set it up pretty good for Netherrack.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Pleasure to be here. I'm Facundo Leonforte from Argentina. I'm the CEO and creative director of Nerak Demons. Product designer. I have 17 years of experience in the product design field, and I'm very excited to be here. So, yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. And Sam?
Hey everyone, I'm Sam Barberry. I'm head of strategy and partnerships at Sequence. Sequence is the world's largest development platform for Web3 chains, games, and apps. And we work very closely with Paul and the Somnia team to power their developer ecosystem, and with Faku and the NetherAct team to power everything Web3 for their game.
Awesome. And Kearney?
Hi, I am the head of community and marketing lead at Uprising Labs, and also helping out with the different Dream Catalyst Accelerator titles with the Somnia team. So super excited to kind of dive into Netherrack today.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about Netherrack, and push the question to the devs over there. Tell us a little bit about the game and what sets it apart from other action RPGs and games in that genre.
Sure. This is an ARPG, top-down view. As you can imagine, like many people, right after they see the gameplay, they get like Diablo or Path of Exile vibes. Um, we are a game of that type, though we have some differentiators. For example, on the storytelling and the concept side, this game is focused on offering players to be the villains, like demons in this case. So it's not like you're being of light, a human, exploring dark places. This is going to be more like you are the dark being and going to the places where the humans are. So it's like we are trying to innovate on that aspect in the terms of the storytelling and the concept. And then our combat system, it's a bit different from what you can expect from Diablo or Path of Exile. It's a bit more tactical and action focused. Like, just to give a quick example, you won't see like the player surrounded by hundreds of enemies and you be like people clicking like mad just to kill them. This is more tactical. This is a game where, of course, this is not a Souls like, but it's a game where you need to be tactical and you can dodge some of the hits of the enemies and many other things. So it's a bit more enjoyable in terms of the zooming within the combat. And then another factor is that the resources side is focused on humans, right? Because because we are demons and we are focusing on how punishing and using the resources out of the humankind can help the range of Netherrack and Himoran, which is the base of the demons. How can those resources help to grow your base, right? So, for example, fear, pain, and tears, those are some of the resources you can get out of humans. And a very direct example could be that if you want to restore your life, you can drain the soul of your enemies, of your weakened enemies. So that's a big differentiator. When you see, for example, the action bar, you will see the typical red and blue orbs on the sides. You will have a center one, which is like the Helion, which is like the souls that you get from your enemies. So yeah, those are a couple differentiators, and we have more. But yeah, I could expand. I don't know how much time we have.
Well,
Yeah,
we have some other questions for you later about the game, so
yeah,
that'll give you plenty of chances to go down that rabbit hole.
perfect.
So let's talk a little bit about Sequence and how they're involved with the back end of Netherrack Demons. Sorry. And what their role is in the Somnia ecosystem in general.
Yeah, excited to talk about that. So, as I alluded to before, Sequence is the most comprehensive development stack in Web3. And so that means we power things like uh, invisible, embedded, non-custodial smart contract wallets, marketplaces, payments, analytics. We have an in-house indexer, relayer, node gateway, SDKs for Unity, Unreal, web, mobile, really everything that developers need to create that seamless experience where they can build anything, any kind of game, and have it feel, invisible and Web 2 for users while providing, all the developer economic benefits and the net new player experiences and opportunities of Web 3. And so we work closely with the Netherrack team on not only kind of the all the connective tissue between the game and the blockchain around wallets and marketplaces and payments, but also very closely on the strategy of designing in Web3. This is obviously a new paradigm for everyone in gaming and in the internet in general, and so that means there are things that we want to think about differently in terms of what should be put on chain, how do we leverage the blockchain for removing certain challenges for developers and developer costs, how do we use it for more valuable user acquisition and user targeting and retention and monetization opportunities. And so getting really deep into the actual kind of design and strategy of where the blockchain can be helpful. And that is a perfect case study of how we work with Somnia as well, because if we want to make it so that developers, when they come into the ecosystem, when they press a start building button, it's everything that they need. And we want to make that as plug and play as possible. So we have something called the Sequence Builder. It's our low code, no code development platform. And there's going to be a version of that just for Somnia called the Somnia, I think, Builder, right, Paul? And that means that you go into Somnia, everything that you're creating is natively on Somnia, obviously testnet right now, and we'll be supporting mainnet when that goes live. And using as little developer time as possible to integrate wallets, you can spin up a custom marketplace in 30 seconds. You can deploy a smart contract in 2 clicks. Really everything that you need so that, again, you can be focused on actually designing games and applications.
Awesome. Very cool. And do you want to talk about some of the features that, if you weren't able to mention all of them, like the SDKs and gasless smart wallet enabled experience?
Yeah, let's go into that. And actually, I would love to bring Faku in to kind of talk about, sort of your experience and how you think about, kind of basically why we're working together, where this stuff intersects with your game and drives the experience that you want. Because as you said, I mean, this is a really massive stack, so we could be here all day, but, everything in the user journey needs to work kind of seamlessly together, which means that everything in the developer's journey of actually creating these experiences needs to work together. And so I have this kind of constant refrain where I say, you don't build half a game on Unity and half of it on Unreal and just hope that it works, because it won't. And so when we think about user accounts and wallets, of course that needs to be sign in with any wallet or create a new wallet with email or social login. But downstream from that, the wallet, of course, needs to work with purchasing items in the game. And so, natively embedded payments, that needs to work seamlessly with the in-game marketplace. That should look and feel native to the game and not like, an OpenSea like wedged into a game. It all needs to work together. And so, we have all the things that face the actual players, like the marketplace, like the wallets. It's headless. You can design it in any way you want, but also using SDKs for Unity, Unreal, web, mobile, so that all of this can live natively where developers are building and not just purely on browser in the way that we've done it, historically in the industry. But yeah, I would love to hand things over to Faku and like hear from your perspective, as you design this game, how you think about the user experience that you want, and how we and Somnia are helping drive that with you.
Sure, Sam. Thank you. So yeah, I think like in general, this is a matter of abstracting the blockchain away from the user, so that we can offer them a seamless experience. Not only when they are signing in, for example, with all the possibilities that Sequence allows to us, like Gmail and everything. I think also it's about the marketplace experience, the crafting experience, because our game is going to have one of the main Web3 components is going to be the crafting system, right? And when you craft a weapon, and when you gather different resources and you need to think what things are going to be on chain, what things are going to be off chain, and everything. I think the sequence infrastructure help us a lot on that side to make the user not thinking or not seeing all of this stuff, but for them to be sure that okay, the probably the weapon that is going to come out of this crafting is going to be on chain, right? And some of the materials that you're going to use there are going to be on chain and some others not. So that shouldn't be like a concern for the user. That should happen like seamlessly in the backend. And I think those are the type of things that Sequence is helping us to reach, and also in terms of the transactions, Somnia as well. So in general, that's what I could say for that question.
Yeah, that's very insightful. And what would you say to other developers out there, Sam, about different ways that it could make a Sequence can make onboarding into Web3 easier?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, not just onboarding, but again, like the entire experience. All of our wallets, they are, true non-custodial smart contract wallets, which means that they are not only, future-proofed and compliant globally and incredibly safe for users and developers, but also invisible. And so, if I log into a game, I'm doing it as simply as I would literally any other application with email or social login. But again, I can also sign in with an existing wallet. So we don't want to turn away users with any existing wallet. We're still going to improve the experience for them. But it's everything else, as Paco was talking about, that needs to happen natively within the game, where we're not constantly being referred out to browser pop-ups or different UI or signing transactions or doing any of the other complex things that really take users out of the experience. And all of that is focused on driving retention and of course driving conversion monetization for the game. And so when we think about where Web3 fits into games in general, it could be something as simple as a Web2 game with leaderboards that have token achievements, and we've seen developers do incredible things there and take their day one retention from 30% to 80%, and all they had to do was integrate a couple lines of code, to games like Netherrack, where more of these assets are on chain. It becomes part of the core experience of the game, not only in terms of the ownership of the assets, but also tradability and other things that you can do with it as the game and the ecosystem evolves. So that's what's exciting to me is, we want to unleash complete creativity so that incredible developers can build whatever it is that they want and not get bogged down with worrying about user acquisition or any of these other things that have really held back Web3 gaming.
Yeah, those are very good points. I think that's what's really going to take us to the next level. Before we dig deeper into the game, we should probably return to a question that I missed earlier about the blockchain and just how the technical capabilities of Somnia make games like this on chain possible, and just some of the possibilities that we are unlocking here. Paul, did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So I think the Netherrack, there are kind of two major things that we're helping them with. I say 2.5. So one is obviously the transaction throughput of Somnia is really high, 1 million transactions per second. So this means for teams like Netherrack, they don't need to worry about the chain being congested and then transactions taking a long time to go through. So in other chains, what can happen is there's another app that's like really kicking off. Loads of users are using the app and taking up all the throughput of the chain. And that means all the other apps on the chain start to run slow. Users get a bad experience and they then disappear. And so because of the throughput of Somnia, app developers really don't need to worry about this anymore because there's so much throughput across the whole system. The other thing is obviously the very quick transactions. This means that from an end user perspective, when you click stuff and when you do stuff, it feels instant, which is what we call real-time applications, which you really need for gaming because end consumers, they don't have the patience. They want to click stuff and have it instantly happen. They don't want to have to wait like minutes for some chains for it to become finalized and you actually have the transaction completed. So I think that's another very important part. The final part, which you kind of touched on a little bit, is the fact that games often do what we call gas sponsorship. So this is where the developers themselves are paying for the gas fees that the users of the games are using up. And this is because you're trying to onboard an audience that aren't particularly Web3 native, and they're not going to go buy a random token on an exchange, put it in a wallet, and start paying gas themselves. It's just a really weird user experience, especially if you want to get Web2 gamers, which you really need for games to scale up to millions of players. And what we have found talking to teams is when they're doing that gas sponsorship, even if they have a smaller game, they have to pay a lot of money per month in terms of gas sponsorship to give the users that seamless experience. I remember meeting one team, they had around 500 daily active users, and they were spending nearly $5,000 a month on the game just in gas fees, and I was like, that's crazy. And so with Somnia, we have incredibly cheap fees, which are going to be like sub 0.01 cent. So they'll be the cheapest in market, which will mean that Netherrack can really start to do a lot more transactions, put a lot more stuff on chain, do things like microtransactions, like charge very, very low fees for items, and they won't have to worry about the underlying cost structure behind that. So I think those three things are like the major things we're bringing for a game like Netherrack to Somnia, just making basically the blockchain transparent infrastructure. I think, like Sam was saying, we need to get to a place in the space where people are using Web3 apps like games, like DeFi, like whatever, and they don't even know they're on chain. They're just having fun, they're clicking buttons, they're having a good time. And that I think Sequence really helps with, I think games really help with, and that's what Somnia is kind of built to do as well.
Yeah, I think people will be very surprised and excited to see the kind of things that are possible once we start putting more of these things on chain. But yeah, now that we've talked about some of the technical aspects, let's kind of get into the game a little bit and talk about the story behind the world of Netherrack and kind of the lore and how important the lore is to the experience and just some of the game mechanics and things like that. Could get deeper into the paths you started talking down earlier.
Of course. So one of the first things I could say is that this is a game that will has a campaign mode, which for us is very important when it comes to a game that has tries to create a strong IP and a strong lore around the world where the players will play in. So by playing the campaign, the players will understand a lot about why what means to be in certain maps, what means to craft certain weapons, names and things. For example, we have like around demonic language, so many words could work as keys on some parts and in some social activities that we will make. So we try to make it as deep as possible. But basically, Netherrack, as you know, as Middle Earth, is the world where this story develops. Demons have been defeated by humankind. Humankind are we have like a separate IP for them because we think that having a strong IP for the main character is as important as the IP for the enemies. and so they are called the Sons of Dawn, and they are like kind of a fanatic inquisitor group that has opened a portal into Netherrack, and they conquer the rest of the demons and other creatures that live there. So Imuran, which is the main base where the player will start, is a collapse bastion that the main character will try to restore across the whole campaign, and of course the with the multiplayer different mini games that will be available through Imuran. So Imuran is going to be like the base where you, as for example in Diablo you have your town, you will have Imuran, and one of the progression main things you can do in the game is like restoring it. By restoring Imuran, you will get access to, for example, different gates, and those gates will allow you to access different parts of the map with different quests and different dungeons. So basically, the progression will be tied to the not only to the character but also to the place. But getting back to the lore, basically, demons find out after being defeated on battle, they found out that humans can be found of resource. So their main objective now is to get as more humans they can to Imuran, to process them and to drain all of the resources they can to fuel the restore of Imuran and themselves, to empower themselves. So basically, all the lore and all the story will be around that concept: how you can not only defeat and conquer certain places, that conquer back certain places, because Nerak is like the native land from demons. So you also gonna be bringing humans to your base. So, for example, instead of seeing the player exploring like many different worlds, you will be exploring different collapsed places as you start restoring them through Netherrack. And there will be full of loot and key things, all related to Imuram's, how could you say, like official Imuran stuffs. Like you will be seeing many armors and many things that went lost with the collapse of Imuran, and then you will be able to either use them, earn them, purchase them, or crafting. So every asset that you will be able to use in the game will be related to the style, the demonic style of Imuran. Um, so yeah, in general, that's the concept mainly.
Very cool. So, can you tell us anything about like the inspiration? I remember you said it's similar to Diablo. Was it those kind of games that inspired you, or was there anything kind of behind the scenes with the development that you think would be cool to share?
Yeah, well, it's funny, but it wasn't Diablo. I'm very fan of Doom. You know the game Doom. I really love how they represent their demons, though they are more like tech or futuristic version of them. But I really like how they make them. But mainly, I could say like from very child, I was big fan of Lord of the Rings, and mainly of the billions of Lord of the Rings. So I really love how their armors, their places, everything related to orcs and all the bad guys from Sauron and everything from Lord of the Rings. They inspire me a lot. And I can say like a funny fact: my first dog called Sauron, and I was 10 years old. So I said, why always the bad guys are represented in an ugly way, right? Is it possible for us to say, okay, can we make a version of the villains that look incredibly awesome, and at the same time making the people and the players be the bad guys? Because I think that could be like a good challenge, for me as a creative guy, to say, can I achieve that? Can I create an IP that makes and then we started. And with the help of our great team, illustrators and concept artists, and we got to great demon concepts. um but yeah, I think mainly what inspired us was a mix of Doom, Lord of the Rings, bad guys, the enemies, and then I guess a lot of existentialist philosophy around. Because this is a lot of has a lot of philosophy as well. The moral conflict of being the bad guy, what means to be evil, and all the things that I think people will be uh, motivated to explore by playing our game. And I think this can bring some fresh experience to the table.
Yeah, I love that concept of flipping things on their head and kind of showing the other side of the story, because there's always these traditional archetypes kind of across all the different stories. I've heard people in the past say how like Batman is always like this good guy, but is actually like this billionaire that has the wealth to solve all these systematic problems in the city, but he's just going around beating up poor criminals and stuff. So
Exactly.
I think it's very interesting to do that. And I love that concept. I'm really excited for that lore.
Yeah.
So let's now talk a little bit about Dream Catalyst and what that how that helps projects like this get off the ground, and kind of what the future of Dream Catalyst is. Does anybody want to jump in there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'd love for Faku to drop his thoughts on kind of the experience as well in a moment. But we're helping out, the Somnia and Uprising teams are helping out these gaming projects to go out and go to market and really hit the Web3 market successfully, and Web2, of course. So our goals are to make sure the go to market campaigns go as smooth as possible, making sure that we're cultivating community. We're doing all the right things and staying in touch with the community, whether that's play tests, AMAs, different events, connecting them with the wider range of guilds in Web3 that really help build these communities. And we're going to be, obviously launching collections that we'll have some news on pretty soon through Netherrack Demons and all of our Dream Catalyst accelerator titles. So what we're doing is just making sure that every title is prepared to launch, accelerating their growth and making sure they're set up for success. Working with Faku has been really a pleasure. I think I'm really bullish on him as a founder. We talk about founder-led marketing a lot within Web3 circles, and he's doing a great job getting out there, getting his face out there, and we're really prepping for a lot of fun events in the Discord and on X. So could not be more excited about Netherrack Demons and what's to come. And really happy that they were accepted through our program, and that we are going to be launching some fun game events very soon. So I'll let Faku kind of touch on it as well. I'll toss the mic over, but would love to hear your experience with us so far and some of the things that you're excited in regards to our activations.
Sure, Kearney. No, I mean, I can say the same. It's been a pleasure to work with Dream Catalyst team. I can say that we've been working on our go-to-market strategy a lot, not only on the strategy, but also a lot of daily help on the execution. And that's much appreciated, because we're a small team. We still a small team, and we really appreciate all the help that comes from there, because we are not experts on all the fields, so that's very useful. But I can also say that game wise we receive a lot of feedback, and it seems like it feels how the Dream Catalyst team has experience on games, and that's very, we don't feel alone on that side, though we have a team of people that always, a community, our community. But it's good to know that experienced people, it's like taking a close look to us as we develop, and of course putting all the milestones and everything, and making sure that we can achieve those milestones. So I think that's much appreciated, and also all the resources and documentation that makes, give a bit of more formal aspect to all the things that we sometimes do, in an organized way, and now I feel like we are a bit more organized. So yeah, that's what I can say. I'm very thankful.
Well, thank you, Faku, and I do want to touch on that element right there. It's important to set up systems for success, and yes, there are playbooks, and there are different ways you can go about launching an NFT collection, going about launching any asset in Web3. But it's important that it's customized and it makes sense for the game, and that's been a huge priority for us. We've had countless calls diving into the different utilities, making sure the community will be rewarded, making sure we're making fun experiences for gamers of all kinds in Web 2 and Web 3. And, again, I think we're really on the verge of a really fun success with Netherrack Demons. So, um, super excited to be working with them. And I know, I don't know if we want to leak any of the playtest announcements, Faku, but, happy to
Yeah.
throw the mic to you if you want to leak something on this space here.
Yeah, of course. Like I say, we have our current version, which is on Epic Games, and we are trying to get new playtesters out of our community. So we'll be announcing some playtest events. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Amazing. Yeah. So that other than that, what can people do to get involved now or to make sure that they're kind of prepared for when that happens?
Well, I think for now is joining Discord. You can like go to our website. We had a lot of information there, a lot of cool art and everything that you can start looking to be involved in the world, to start like feeling the the feeling of the netherrack. And then yeah, I think like for now is Discord. Stay tuned to our X account, and we will be dropping a lot. I promise we have a lot of content and news to show soon.
Amazing. If nobody else has anything additional to add, I will open up the floor for questions. So if anybody wants to request to speak from the audience, to ask anything of anybody on stage, or just add some thoughts to the conversation. If you aren't on a mic or don't feel comfortable speaking on a mic, you can always comment on the Twitter post that we put out about this. I think that's the way to do it, probably. But yeah, send us your comments. I'm trying to see if I can find them. Yeah, let's see. And also, yeah, if you want to come up on stage, feel free to request. Let's see, we might have somebody here. Yep, I see you, BR1 Infinite. You should be coming on in a minute. When you do, please give us a mic check, and then feel free to get started.
Hello.
Amazing. I can hear you. Welcome to the chat.
What's good? I was trying to come up earlier, but my thing was rugging. I don't know. I was clicking on the button, and then it would just kind of conk out. So I appreciate the late in the game bring up. What's good? What are the questions that I can ask about RPG Worlds at this point? I wanted to come up like maybe 15 minutes ago, so I kind of lost track a little bit there.
Oh yeah, all good. So basically, we are just we are building this game Netherrack, and we've had some of our builders on here to discuss things. So yeah, basically the idea was abstracting Web3 away, bringing Web2 users in if possible. But yeah, we got Axis as well with a question. Maybe
I actually remember my question now.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so as a game developer, I'm on Unity, and I was curious. Maybe I missed it prior. Are you guys on Unity as well, or are you guys on Unreal Engine?
We are on Unreal Engine 5.
Unreal Engine 5. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where my question was going to come, because in the early days of Web3, I don't know how long you guys have been in the space. I've been building in the Web3 space since around 2021, and when we first started building our tech, we had that first question, the great fork in the road. Are we going to do this on Unity, or are we going to do this on Unreal? And at the time, the tech for Web3 integrations, for gaming specifically, the SDKs that we needed, like anything that was in the Play Store, it just was very nascent in the Unreal world, and Unity had
Yeah.
like a lot of technology early on, and a lot of developers, from high level developers all the way down to like Fiverr guys. Everybody was using Unity.
Exactly.
And I'm curious, how have you seen over the years? And this is coming from somebody who knows both products, loves both products, but I've spent 95% of my time over the last 4 years on Unity, almost exclusively because of that fork in the road 4 years ago.
Yeah. No, I totally get you. I mean, even Unity, you have, for example, for browser-based games on the 3D tech, you have a lot of things. I don't remember the name of the products I've seen, but you can basically build a whole game in 3D, but just by using Unity and upload it and play it. So I mean, I know that Unity has a lot of solutions, and they've been like very early on this. I think the reason why we chose Unreal Engine 5 specifically, and also the reason that why are we taking the time to migrate? For example, now we are migrating to the last version. It's because we are working with a game that has a lot of requirements in terms of graphics. We try to give an experience where people can enjoy the environments, people can enjoy all the assets. Our style is, we could say, is realistic. It's not stylized. So we take advantage, and like, with every update of Unreal Engine 5, we take more advantage of their optimization tools. So you can maybe have a laptop or a PC that doesn't have the best components, but then you can play and you can feel like you're playing a AAA graphics game, and then that's what Unreal is doing right now. I think it's mainly on that side, but like for example, being able to work with Sequence allow us to work in the Web3 space with the Web3 tools without problem, which I can say that every like in 2 years ago it was way more difficult. So every year, and even like every 6 months, you see a lot of changes, you see a lot of new solutions for that. So that's what I can say about that.
Did you
Yeah.
have anything additional, BR1, on that thought?
No, it's definitely an interesting time where we've come to in the Web3 space, and it's interesting to see that now, people who are joining today and are in that fork in the road today, unlike where we were, 4 or 5 years ago, they have so much more to offer, and that there's more resources available to make a more educated decision on what platform you'd want to build on. I'm curious. You said originally, I think it was Somnia who said it, about making Web 2 games and the infrastructure therein, bringing in Web 3 and abstracting, what's important and what's not. What we've seen over the last couple of years is, making the least friction possible for a Web 2 user, on the onboarding, and putting all of the heavy lifting and the annoying stuff and the friction on the offboarding possible. Um, have you guys seen anything from a Web 2 standpoint on what type of offboarding versus onboarding friction that you prefer to have? And that would be my final question.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great question. I could say that we have different things planned for that. not all of them like I could explain, because it's a bit more about the technical side. Probably our CTO would be able to explain a bit more about that. But for example, in the case when we name on-chain elements on our game, we say cursed elements, right? So we try to apply some lore to the elements, and let me know if I'm right answering what you ask. But we try to apply some lore to all the concepts that could be like on chain, just to make players' life easier, and just to add value from the IP side. So every time you find an element that is cursed, you know that is an on chain element that goes on chain. Could be a resource, could be a weapon, and that, I think, those are the decisions we make in terms of making the experience a bit less painful, just to not be so technical for the players, from Web2 players. But I can also say that it's a matter of testing. I cannot say that we have everything solved. I need to be humble on that side and say we are gonna test, we are gonna listen our players, and we are gonna see where is the value. Like the value, you don't always know where it is from the beginning. You find it, and you find it across receiving a lot of feedback from your audience, from your players. So I think that we are more than thinking everything before, or planning everything before launching. We are preparing all years to see where to improve.
Love to hear it.
I think I'd like to talk a little bit about this question from what we're seeing at the ecosystem level. I think it's kind of what you're alluding to. We're seeing kind of two styles of games. One style, they're really going after a Web2 consumer base, and they're basically making it so that people can onboard without even interacting with any Web3 elements. And players would play the game just because it's fun at the end of the day. And exactly like you were saying, it's only when they want to offboard, so when they want to take the assets, put them on chain, monetize them, and then turn them into cash in some form, that's when they tend to then make it a little bit more frictionful, because it kind of has to be, because you have to do the minting process and stuff like that. So we're seeing that kind.
They also have an incentive too,
Exactly.
right? Because in the beginning, they're just like, "What's this game? Do I really want to figure out all the mechanisms right now?" And then there's friction. They won't.
I'm not going to play this. Yeah, exactly. But there are some games which these are much more, I'd say, Web3 native games, and they're going after just a pure Web3 native crowd where they don't worry about that as much. I still personally, from a personal perspective, think we need to make the blockchain transparent, and it should always be as easy as possible, because you want to onboard as many people as possible. But there are some games that don't worry about that as much, but I think they are really going after like a pure Web3 native crowd that kind of know what they're getting into when they're playing the games. So there are still some devs that don't worry about that as much, but I see a lot more leaning on the Web2 side. There's also things to think about with distribution platforms. Like if you want to go on Steam, you have to make a Web2 version of your game, because they won't let you create a Web3 version and publish to Steam. So you do have to think about these kind of dual modes of like a Web3 version and a Web2 version of the game as well, which is important.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great catch. I think where do you put the Web3 elements? It's a strategy that needs to be thought, not only just to not like overwhelm or scare like Web2 users, but also to give the value where it belongs, in terms of the Web3 side. So yeah, I agree with that.
Anybody else have any questions? Come on up and request to speak, and I'll bring you on to talk to the devs. And otherwise, on the conversation of platforms from earlier, I know it's a common question of people asking like which platforms they can build on with Somnia, and I'm pretty sure it's like all of the big ones. Is that right?
Yeah, ultimately the blockchain is a big database in the sky, so it plugs into any platform. Obviously, be aware that some platforms have certain constraints that you should be aware of. Like if you deploy to mobile, there are certain constraints. If you deploy to PC consoles, you have certain constraints. So there are constraints across the different platforms for Web3 elements that you have to kind of work through. But Somnia essentially is a kind of global blockchain in the sky, so you can plug into it. What I would say there, someone speaking.
Oh, hi everyone.
Hey there. Do you have a question?
Since we are talking about RPG Worlds, so a few months ago I was playing Forgotten Universe on Ronin Chain, and the most challenging thing was for me was the ping issue. So the ping was very high, especially for the Asia regions. So in that case, I would love I would love to suggest that if the ongoing build that is going on currently on Somnia, especially with the one that are considering building RPG Worlds type of games, I think they should consider about giving a good ping for the Asia regions like Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan. Thank you.
A good ping.
Yeah, so he's talking about the latency. I think this is really dependent on how devs make their game. So I don't know how Runiverse is constructed, but if they're using what's called a client-server model, you're right. You have to really think through the demographics you're trying to reach and where you place your servers globally to ensure you have distribution. That means that they can get really good ping. Otherwise, the games become unplayable. I did a lot of games in the kind of Web2 industry with the AAA guys, and the strategy they would think through about where they deploy servers globally and how they could scale up and down depending on different geos was like intense. And I can imagine if they're using a client server model, that was probably one of the issues we're facing. If it was just client directly to blockchain, that may have been an issue with the chain being slow and not having good latency mechanisms. So Somnia is very, very good for that. We have a game coming up this week called Chunked, which is a version, I can't say the word Minecraft, but it's a voxel-based game where they're essentially using Somnia as the way to relay positions across all of the players in that game. And so Somnia has the transaction throughput to do that, but also the latency characteristics to do that, which is quite crazy. So I don't know how Runiverse was structured. If it was client server, it's about thinking about where you place your servers, depending on what geos you're going after. And if it was blockchain, you just need a really fast blockchain.
Yeah, yeah, and they had multiple phases of beta testing, and fast testing was good. The experience of fast testing was good. It wasn't much bad, but the second beta testing, it was extremely bad. So bad that my European friends kicked me out that you can't play with us. So I had to move from there, and I couldn't participate in Forgotten Universe anymore. And I also lost some reward there. So I'm very discouraged to play these games. I think I hope, since I've been with Somnia for a long time and I know you guys, I hope Insomnia, I hope better. I expect something better from the developing RPG games Insomnia.
Yeah, I think we will offer a much better experience, and I really appreciate your question. We have another one from Roaring Kitty, who I have allowed up. Are you able to speak?
Talking to me, boss?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, what's up? What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Good, good, good. Thanks for asking. Thanks for letting me up on stage. But damn, I kind of blacked out. Can you just give me like 2 minutes to kind of like rethink about what I had to say?
We're actually going to be wrapping up in like 5 minutes, so you
Sure.
were probably like the last question.
Oh.
Sorry to
No, that's all right. That's all right.
We do have another question, so maybe we'll do 2 more.
Just one little quick thing. Just like in the Discord, I think the verification bot is kind of broken. It keeps kicking out like people every 10 minutes because they're having a hard time getting verified.
For Netherrack?
No, for the Somnia Discord.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk to the team about that.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me up.
Yeah, no problem. And Adam Eliak, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. Are you able to speak? Did you have a question? Oh, wait, it looks like you might be a parody account.
Paul is the GOAT, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, I think that might be everybody and all of the questions that we have. We might have one more. I'll give one more shot to Web3. I think it was Web3 guy, maybe. It disappears for a minute after I invite you up. But yeah, after that, we may just close it for the day, but we'll be here at the same place and the same time next week to discuss our next game that we'll be releasing. We have a lot of hype things going on. We have we do have Web3 baby. Sorry. All right, can you speak?
Yeah, GM guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. My question is the Somnia network trying to trying to add my Kaito for the yaps. I always have like a capture issue all the time. I've been having this issue for like 2 weeks now, trying to connect to the capture on Kaito.
I think that may be something that you may have to work out with Kaito. I
Yeah,
see you
is that
unmuting
on?
Paul, maybe.
Yeah, is that on the Kaito website or on our website?
On the Kaito website.
So we can't help with that. I'd try and get in touch with the Kaito team. So I'd ask them on their Discord, and I try and ping them on X. We can't fix the Kaito stuff. If their capture is stopping you, you need to talk to them. Unfortunately, we can't help you.
Yeah, it's because like it's the yapping about Somnia. Like I'm trying to connect my ex to yap about Somnia. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Kearney,
yeah.
I see you have your hand up.
Hey, yeah, I need to drop off in a second, and I know the space is about to wrap up, but I wanted to kind of give a shout out for Netherrack. If everyone in the audience could go ahead and support the newest Dream Catalyst title, go ahead, click that Netherrack Demons PFP right there. Go ahead, hit that follow button. Make sure you have notifications on, because there's going to be a lot of exciting announcements for Netherrack in the next few weeks, and obviously the next few months are going to be, pretty incredible for Netherrack. And I'd love for everyone to just go in, get those notifications on, show some love to Faku, scroll down a little bit. If you see Cramson's PFP, if you see his name in the audience, go ahead, shoot him a follow as well. I just want to make sure they're getting the love on this space because it's a big one, over 100 people. So before I drop off here, but thank you as always, Samnia team, for hosting the space. Thank you to Sequence as well. I need to drop off, but I just wanted to give my my regards there.
Yeah, thanks for that.
man.
And I will second that as well. And let everybody know that we have a quest going on with following Netherrack and joining the Discord as well. So you definitely should do that. And definitely join us next week as well. Thanks to all of our guests and thanks to everybody for joining us. And we will catch you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.